Hey, what's going on, Fearless Flippers? Kyle Stanley here. Thank you so much for checking in on Fearless Flipping and taking the time to invest in yourself. I think that's the best thing that we can do, is invest in ourselves so that we can help others around us. That's what Fearless Flipping is all about. So what I'm really excited today to do for you is bring in my friend Valentin Pits. Now, Valentin is one of those guys that you can just tell he's a super likable guy. He's from Russia. He's an immigrant from Russia. Came here when he was 7 years old. You'll hear all about his story. But one of the things that I love about Valentin is where his backstory comes from. So here is the deal. He's been in business for 4 years. He's got a business called Building Dreams Redevelopment, also known as We Buy Houses in Fresno. He's been in business for 4 years. He is a former owner of a commercial janitorial company. I'm going to say that again, a commercial janitorial company. He himself, in fact, not only was he overseeing, but at one point, he was actually a janitor in his own company. Just think about that for a second. A janitor now turned real estate investor. Now, obviously, he owned the business and went on to do some great things with it. And he told me he actually enjoyed the business and enjoys being an entrepreneur. But that just goes to show you, a lot of people come to real estate investing not because they don't like what they're doing, but because they know that there's something bigger out there for them. And that's exactly what Valentin saw, and you'll hear that in his story. He has never lost a single dollar on a flip. In 4 years, never lost any money. And he's tripled his rental portfolio. He'll tell you a little bit about his strategy here in a second. But he's tripled that in the last year. Just under a year, he went from 4 rentals all the way up to 13. Put your mind around that. That's some serious passive cash flow. And I want to remind you, as you're listening, whether you're listening or watching this on YouTube, you can take a look at the show notes, which is at www.fearlessflipping.com/Valentin Pits. It's VALENTINPITS. And if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure to go down to the show notes below. You can just go ahead and click on the link here. And also, we've got a really special treat for you with him, because we did an episode of the Fearless Flip with him where he took us through his house and the project that he was working on here in Fresno. I would highly encourage you, after you listen and watch this, to go check that out. And that will also be in the show notes and down on the link below if you're watching on YouTube. Now let's get to our interview with Valentin. All right, the awesome Valentin Pits here. I'm super excited. I've got my notes. I know you're going to bring a ton of value, and just ready to take some notes. I hope you're taking some notes back at home too. But we're going to start off right away with our Fearless 5. I love these 5 questions to just get it started. What is your weirdest and best real estate story that you've got?
So the weirdest real estate story, we are about to have an open house for a flip we just finished out. We're about half an hour out from people coming. All the signs are out. I get to the property, and in the garage, it's a detached garage, there is literally like a satanic ritual, fresh, like they just burned some incense there, the star, like everything, all the satanic worshiping stuff going on. And I'm just like, I'm in a panic. I'm like,
That's a bad sign.
That's, yeah, that's a bad sign. So I'm like, well, is this a good way to disclose it? Because here it is, right?
Did you make a profit on it?
Made a profit on it.
Okay, good. That would have been when I'm like, okay,
work.
I'm out. I'm out. Okay, next question here. What is your favorite part about real estate investing?
Favorite part, I would say the freedom that it allows me to spend with my family, do stuff like this, not having to clock in, and just control of my own schedule and the freedom it gives me.
That's so cool. What's your favorite way to market?
I would say I love networking. I'd say that's the funnest part, just because I get to connect with people and just build out those relationships. It's free. And then just the collaboration. I'll send people deals, they'll send me deals, and we get good stuff.
Awesome. Did you go to college?
I did, very briefly. I was sitting in a class. The professor was talking about the statistics of failure in business. 9 out of 10 people fail. So I kind of got ticked off, and I said, you know what? If I'm going to fail, if he's already telling me I'm going to fail, I'm just going to go out and kind of start my own business and went from there. So I dropped out.
I think there's a little bit of every entrepreneur that kind of is like, you challenge them and they go out and they try to make it. Was that kind of the way for you?
I think that was kind of the way, yeah.
You got challenged. That's cool. Okay, so why did you get into real estate? And, just kind of get me through that story of what brought you to it.
You know what? I think it fits my personality type. Every day is different. and the challenges. There's no ceiling for me, and that's what I love. I can go as big as I want or as small as I want, and there's no glass ceiling for me. So I love that.
So obviously everyone's hearing your accent right now. It's not Spanish. It's
No.
what, Russian?
It's actually Russian.
Okay.
Yeah, I was born in Russia.
Tell me about that story. What brought you to Fresno of all places?
Sure. So my grandparents came here first, and then my family and I came here in 1992. I was 7 years old, and we came here as refugees to this country. And I just remember getting pictures from our grandparents, and the dining table had this fruit spread, and we just thought that America is just the land of milk and honey, and if we just got there, we can do something. So,
And then you got to Fresno, and you're like, "What's this place?"
Well, we came midsummer, so we thought we arrived in hell itself because we're from Russia. But
Why Fresno?
you know what? There was at that time, for some reason, there was just a lot of Russian people that came to Fresno. I don't know exactly why. My grandparents were here, so we just kind of followed them this way.
So you said for opportunity, land of milk and honey.
Yeah.
What was that opportunity that your family saw?
I mean, to me, it's liberating knowing, when you have like an immigrant mindset, you just know that if I put in the work, I'm going to get rewarded, and that's what this country's about. At that time in Russia, it wasn't that easy. And had we not come here, I don't think I'd be where I'm at or doing what I love doing. So just that freedom that right now I could be in bed, right, and nobody would care, or I can do something about it and actually make something of myself in this country, and it's beautiful.
That's really cool. I love that, the immigrant mindset of putting in the work and it'll eventually pay off for you.
Believing that, yeah.
I think that automatically gives you a step up in not only in the real estate investing world, but also in life. So can you just talk about that for a second of how that's benefiting you with real estate?
That mindset is just, you know what? Now it's legacy. I had my son. A lot of people know. I had my boy, my first son. So I'm like huge on legacy now. And it's one thing to make some money. And being quote unquote poor, it's easy to squander that. But for me, I'm like, you know what? Let's build something that's going to last generation after generation, and kind of just change the course of where we came from.
That's really cool. So, by the way, when you say it's not just about money. This guy did show up to a flip the other day that we filmed in this gorgeous orange Viper. So sometimes it's fun to have the extra money.
It is fun. It is fun. Yeah. Sometimes you got to have a little fun with it.
And if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure to go ahead and check out that video of the Fearless Flip episode 1 with Valentin. We've got a shot of that Viper, and he gives us a ton of information about his home right there in Tower District and just how he evaluates it. And of course, make sure to watch the other episodes of what ends up happening with that show. I'm not going to give it away, or what happens with that flip. I'm not going to give it away, but we'll see as you go and watch that. If you're listening on the podcast, make sure to go check out the YouTube channel. So now, when it comes down to how you got into real estate, can you talk to me about what you were doing before real estate?
Sure. So right as I dropped out of college to start my own business, I started a commercial janitorial company. We basically serviced doctors' offices, car dealerships, grocery stores, professional corporate offices, everything. And I built that up to about 30 plus employees. We got to a pretty good size, but I got bored. And I just wasn't having fun anymore. And I've always loved real estate. And growing up, I even knew I loved real estate because I would count, all the doors in the apartments we'd live in. And I just kind of knew that that's what I wanted to do. So I sold the company and started full time, just all in.
That's awesome. So you were counting doors at a young age, adding up numbers, saying, oh my gosh, if I own this place, I could make this much money. How old were you at that time?
I must have been around 10, and I seen the little rent receipt that my mom was $320 a month that we were paying. So I was like, my gosh, I didn't know any better. I was like, my gosh, if I just had something like this and everyone paid me $320 a month, like I really could do something.
Isn't that crazy? Do you think you're born with that, or do you think that's instilled in you? Where do you think that comes from?
Gosh, that's a good question, Kyle. Like I do think about that a lot, and honestly think it's almost like dharma. You know, we're all meant to do something. You don't necessarily have to do it. If someone's meant to be a doctor, but they become a lawyer, they're going to be miserable. So I feel I was born an entrepreneur. I mean, I have story after story of the stuff that I did, little businesses that I created as a kid, even just to make money. And I mean, we grew up. We grew up in my family. I didn't know anyone successful. So I didn't have that mindset. I didn't have anyone to look up to that, you know, had a business. I just kind of knew that it was hard for us at that time, not having the resources, you know, that we needed. You know, I hesitate to say the word poor because in this country, even the poorest people are wealthy, you know, compared to other places in the world. But still, nevertheless, you know, that feeling of not having, it's embedded deep inside, and it's, you know, I use it as a driving force to do something in business with it.
It sounds like you have a great appreciation for what you have, that you're thankful for what you have. Is that because of where you came from?
I think so. I think it's because of I seen the other side of things. I was 7, but I've seen it. I still remember. I heard things, and that's a big part. I think of being just grateful to be here and having the opportunity to just go out and do it. Again, that's why I love that. No one's making me do this. I could be in bed in my underwear and, you know, living, you know, off the government, but I choose not to. So we all have that personal choice to go out and do something, and that's still prevalent in this country.
I think just what you said there is gold, because when it comes down to it, how many of us, no matter how much we have or how little we have, tend to focus on what we don't have?
Yeah, exactly, right?
And so, you know, I was just thinking about it this morning. Every morning I wake up and I say what I'm grateful for. It's my gratitude, you know, verbal journal. And this morning I was just like, man, you know, when's the last time I just thank God for like not being in debt or not being poor and like having the things around me.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that sounds like, does that help you even in this business where sometimes maybe you're like, man, I haven't had a deal for a long time. You know, does that positive attitude help you in this kind of business?
It does help me in this business. And then and having that background, like you said, coming from the other side of things, and you know, and now I think, you know, how can I instill those things into my son? You know, so I want to do some traveling to other countries to show him hey, you know, there's other parts of this world, and they're not living like we are. So he, you know, he has that gratitude built into him, and not just become, you know, rotten, spoiled.
How old is your son?
He's 7. He's gonna be 7 in like 3 days.
Okay.
7 months.
Oh, 7 months.
Months,
Okay,
yeah.
a little different than 7 years.
Yeah.
So, at what point do you start putting a hammer in his hand and take him out to the projects?
8 months. I can't wait until I can take him out to a project or to the office. Like, I'm so excited to do that.
That's awesome. Even passing along these mindsets that you have, you know, I think about it too. As I don't have any kids, but when I do, you know, I know that my dad really showed me how to treat money, how to, you know, save, invest, the whole 9 yards. And I think that started as early as like 2 or 3 years old. So
That's
I'm
awesome.
excited to do that. When do you start doing that with your son, do you think?
As early as I can. I mean, I'm gonna start as early as he can count or talk. So, you know, right away, just build that into him. What he does with it, it's up to him. But I definitely want to build those values in.
Cool. So you owned a janitorial business. I'm assuming you never actually got the mop out and were doing the work.
So in the beginning stages,
Yeah,
I did.
there you go.
I was doing the work. Then I read this awesome book, the E-Myth Revisited, and it's all about systems, right? So then I said, you know what? I'm gonna fire myself from actually working, and that's the tough part. The mindset of you not going in is like the biggest barrier. So I just refused to go in, and in the meantime, I was just documenting every single system, how to deal with suppliers, and how to deal, you know, creating employee handbooks and training manuals and videos, everything. So I created all those systems, and basically, yeah, after that, I didn't have to go into work physically.
If you guys have not read the E-Myth, you got to read it. It talks about how, you know, there's so many, especially with us being in that age now where everyone's an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
They read this book and they realize, oh crap, I'm not an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
I'm a technician, or I'm a manager who thinks that he's got, you know, more freedom, but actually when you become a manager, you have more responsibilities.
Yeah.
Where do you say that you're at right now in your business?
Right now I'm in between. Honestly, I know if I'm totally honest with myself, I have the help and assistance that I need, but I think that's almost because I actually kind of enjoy the technical part of it too. Um, Sometimes if you're not doing anything per se, you get really bored. I easily get bored. So I go out onto if a seller calls me, I'll go out into the appointment myself. And I want to talk to them because I know I can close a deal. And I know I can train others to do that too, but I just really enjoy doing that. I love the whole
You're a
process.
people person too, so that's got to have a little bit of some excitement just knowing that you can go out there and help someone too.
Right? I mean, and when you know you've helped them, then that's just that nice little fuzzy feeling. Like, yeah, you made money, like we make money, but we get a bad rep out there. During our marketing, we send a lot of text messages and do cold calls, and we get cussed out, and we get a bad reputation out there. And it's sad for me because I know how much value I add and you add. But there are bad apples out there. But anyways, when I go out there and help somebody, it makes me feel good above and beyond getting paid.
I want to stay on that for a second because this show is all about creating confidence in people to go out there and conquer the real estate investing process. One person might be listening right now and thinking, well, shoot, I don't want to get cussed out. Like, that doesn't sound like fun. How often is that happening, and how much, if at all, does the helping people outweigh that?
Sure. So first of all, if you're not getting cussed out quite frequently, you're not marketing enough.
Okay.
All right. So because it comes with the territory, and then again, it's so much of this is mindset, so much of it, and just get your feelings out of it. It's a business, it's a numbers game. People are upset. They're living their own lives. They're in a financial predicament. They're losing their house maybe. So they have a right to cuss out some random guy who they perceive as trying to make money off of them. So I accept that for what it is. I don't take it personally. I will admit sometimes I have a little fun with it. If I'm having a bad day, I'll counter back. I'll say something back. No, I don't do that often, but I'll do it sometimes. And
then
I'm like, I feel a little better. It's been 3 months since I've done that.
And then you send them a selfie of your Viper.
Right.
Okay, so but when it comes down to it, when you help someone, how much does that feeling outweigh the crap that you deal with?
Kyle, that's everything for me. Like, again, like you said, your morning ritual. Part of my morning ritual, I created a poster of why I do what I do every day, and I recite it because I'm a person. I'm more of I keep emotions out of business, but I feed off my emotions too. And I remember in my other company when I made a ton of money, but I wasn't giving value. I felt depressed, man. Like the money didn't matter. I was just like depressed. I'm like, what am I doing here? So knowing that I'm helping people, that's what's keeping me going, honestly. Because I mean, I could tell you, we could spend 2 hours talking about how we help people in their situation, and that's the stuff that makes me feel good. And I get up every morning like on fire.
That's awesome. All right, Fearless Flippers. So making a poster of why you do what you do. I just think that is some of the best gold that you could have shared right now. Just because, for me, when we don't have those reminders of why we're doing what we're doing, when we lose our purpose, when we lose our way, that's when we give up and quit.
Yep.
And so that right there, I mean, there's so many people with so many different morning rituals. Find yours, but I think that one right there is so cool.
Sure. And I start out with the value that I give, because you got to give value, enough value. That's how you get paid. And then I come second. So after I give this value that I feel I'm giving, then yeah, I want to get paid. I don't work for free, but I want to feel like I'm doing something too.
So really quick here, as we're kind of wrapping up, when did you feel like, man, I've become a success with this? Like this, was there one moment, one deal, one interaction where you were like, I'm the man?
So honestly, man, I don't ever feel successful. I think it has to do with a lot of background stuff, and that's what kind of drives me. But I don't ever feel like I'm successful. It's really hard for me to swallow that. But there are little moments. Yeah, there are little moments when you have that day, and then just everything's going right, and you close 3 deals, and and you're driving home in the sunset, and and then really I think it's that drive home, and then coming to my family and knowing that like that's me, like I'm able to provide for them. They don't have to worry about being cold or hot or anything. So then I'll have those moments where like, yeah, like I made it. but it's rare.
That's awesome. So is it fair to say that you're thankful for everything that you've got, but you are never comfortable with where you're at?
Correct. Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's a successful person right there. That's, at least with the mindset, it is for sure. You've mentioned it a couple times, but I really want to dig into this, and then we're going to kind of wrap up here. But what is your purpose? I heard legacy in there. Can you just expand on that, and maybe anything else that would be the reason that you're really doing this?
Yeah. So first of all, there are a few things because people say, "What's your why?" But I don't think it's singular. There's no such thing as a singular why. When you're younger, it's money. Then that gets old and depressing, And now for me, it's doing something that, like when we flip a house and it's just trash and there's squatters in there and cops all the time, and then you sold it for top dollar because you deserve to sell at top dollar. You really made the right improvements, and you have neighbors coming to thank you, and then you see like 4 for sale signs right after you left that neighborhood. You're like I had a little small piece of improving that neighborhood. So that's on a daily basis for my work. Then on a more personal level, it's challenging myself all the time. Like, what is my capacity? You know, so if I reach a level, it's not out of greed. Like, there's a lot of misconception about people who people are greedy. It's not really anything about greed. It's like, God gave us certain talents. Like, how can I reach? Can I even come close to reaching those? Probably the answer is no, but I'm going to try. And then from there, it's like, in the moment, like I want to accumulate enough assets that give me passive cash flow where I could live life abundantly. So that means freedom and money. There's nothing wrong with that. Just live abundantly and experience, and then legacy again, like you said, that's so big for me. From where I came from, I don't ever want my family, my son, to deal with that. I want him to know, but I wanted to, I don't want to make a bunch of money and then that's it. It stops with me. I wanted to continue second generation, third generation, the values that you instill in your son and then he instill in his son, and just change that whole entire course.
Man, that's awesome. Generational change.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you a question. I'm going to give you a second to think about it. But what would be if you've got someone right here in front of you? There's going to be tons of listeners here that are either brand new to this, trying to take their business to the next level, or trying to decide if they want to be in real estate investing. What would be the number one piece of advice that you give them? And while you're thinking about that for a second, I do want to just go ahead and tease you guys to Thursday, or if you're watching this, a few months after it's posted, go ahead and check out our deal analyzer topic that Valentin's going over with us, showing you exactly how to analyze a deal. We are going to release that on Thursday if you're watching this the day that we release this. But what would be that bit of information or advice?
So be honest with yourself. Is this really for you? Are you doing it to get rich, to make $30,000, $50 check or $1,000 checks, or are you doing this long term? Are you all in? And then I know you said one, but secondly, have a set of criteria of how you're going to operate your business. I hear people all the time, should I invest out of state? Should I do multifamily? Should I do flip? Dude, choose your business model, choose one thing, get really, really good at it. And from there, it's going to evolve into other things, but that's after the fact. And you just have a set of criteria, your 10 commandments of doing business, and follow that.
That's awesome. Okay, so recapping that, do it for the right reason. Don't do it for the money. Do it for the long term, for the legacy, for the helping people out. Criteria, just sticking with one, whether it's flip, wholesale, rentals, stick with one. The other ones will come. Kind of digging down deep. Mm-hmm. Eventually, it'll build wide. And then lastly, having those 10 commandments or however many commandments for your own business.
Yeah.
I think that's amazing advice. So you've, again, just given so much value here today. So thank you, Valentin. How can people go ahead and get in contact with you if they'd like to be able to ask some questions?
No, well, thanks for having me. I had a great time with you on the show. You can contact me. My direct number is 559-495-8601. Shoot me a text message. Give me a call. I may not respond right away, but I will respond because I love giving back to new investors too. We've all had people who gave to us So anyways, and then, or shoot me an email, Valentin, that's no E at the end, Valentin at webuyhousesinfresno.com. I reply to, I'm on my emails night and day, so I'll get back to you.
Perfect. One more time, and this is also in the show notes if you'd like to take a look. 559-495-8601, and then Valentin, Valentin, at webuyhousesinfresno.com. And again, make sure you check out that next episode about Valentin providing, once again, tons of value about how to analyze the deal. We've got to know who you are, where you're at in your business, and the amazing success that you've had so far. But let's get down to the strategy. Make sure to check that out. And remember, this Fearless Flipping is all about your time to go out and conquer the real estate investing process. All right, big thanks to Valentin for coming on the show. Once again, go down to the show notes. If you're watching on YouTube, it's just the link down in the description. If you're listening on the podcast, it's www.fearlessflipping.com/Valentin Pits, and you will see all the contact info that he mentioned. And really, 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 I'm serious about this. Make sure that you check out that next show about the deal analyzer. That thing is amazing. We're going to walk you through it. I highly suggest you watch it on the YouTube channel. Don't just listen to it on the podcast. You will see exactly how he's using it. We're going to share his screen from his phone. It's awesome. I'm adding it to my tool belt. I suggest you do the same thing if you want to get serious about truly analyzing deals the right way. And definitely make sure to go check out the Fearless Flip episode. Again, if you're watching on YouTube, it's just down in the link. If you're listening on the podcast, just subscribe to our YouTube channel, Fearless Flipping. And make sure that you check that out because it's super cool to see how he goes through everything in the house and shows you how he's going to change everything. And then, of course, seeing those after pictures, that's my favorite part. All right, it's time for you to go conquer the real estate investing process. We'll see you next time.